Hi guys, it's Addy from Addy and Terry, and welcome to our channel. Here we're going to give you a little bit of cruise vlogs and travel vlogs and a few updates, tips, and tricks just to help you out on next planning your cruise. Today we are answering top 10 questions that Terry and I get asked all the time from new cruisers. Before we get started though, be sure you like this video, share it with someone, and subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to also hit that bell notification just to make sure that you are notified next time we put out a new video. So let's get started. Quick answer here is, oh heck no. There are so many different cruise ships out there right now. You got cruise ships for older demographics, you got cruise ships for families, you got your budget ships, you got your decadent luxury ships. There are ships for adventures that go out and do all kinds of adventure things like going to Antarctica. You got your ocean liners, you got your river cruises. There's so many different types of cruise ships out there. The key to picking the right cruise ship is to work with your travel agent so you know exactly what kind of cruise you're trying to go on. Quick answer here is, it depends. If you're planning to book a quick getaway once cruising is back up, then yes, it can be kind of expensive simply because you're having to do full payment at the time of booking. But if you're giving yourself 6 months or more to plan the cruise, then you'll have a better chance of getting better deals. Just like right now, we just finished up the holiday season with Black Friday deals going out with just about every cruise line that had lots of Black Friday deals. You can find a good cruise deal there. And now we're coming up on wave season, which is the cruise kind of sale season, which is usually between January and March. And here they'll have some good deals that you can get there. And if you're booking out for late 2021 or even 2022, and even some cruise lines are even having itineraries ready for 2023, you can find some great deals and be able to have longer time to pay for it. Another thing that goes into factor when you're planning your cruise or how it can be expensive is if you're traveling individually or as a family. Individually, some cruise lines, because they don't always accommodate solo cruisers, can charge you a single supplement of up to 125% to almost 200%. So yes, that's double the cruise rate of a regular double occupancy. As for families can be expensive because yes, you are paying for every single person in that cruise, even though some cruise lines will give you kids sail free type deals, but you are still ending up paying for it, especially if you are booking one of those family cabins or family suites. Another way that cruising can end up being expensive is if you're adding everything into your cruise and not taking into account for it. So that could be beverage packages, specialty dining, extra excursions, or going to the spa or doing things like that. Those things can add up, so if you're not planning for it, it can get quite expensive. I had someone ask me once if I ever was scared of pirates while going out on a cruise, and I instantly burst into laughter, but then I kind of realized they were serious and I quickly said no. I feel sometimes safer going on a cruise than I do going on some land trips, and that's simply because cruise lines have so many different regulations that they have to go through in order to make cruising safer, not just for cruisers, but for their crew as well. They have to deal with Coast Guard, they still got to deal with the CDC, they still have their own regulatory boards that they have to pass. So yeah, I feel very safe on a cruise. But still, don't leave yourself open to be vandalized or harmed while on a cruise. Use the safe that's in your room. Don't just walk around with money on a cruise because there's no need for it. And then once you're in it going on excursions, don't make yourself look like you're able to get mugged. I mean, just use common sense. This question right here is exactly why cruising has been halted right now. Cruise lines are working very diligently and trying to work as quickly as possible to make sure that everything is safe for cruisers and crew so that things can get back started again. Even before the virus though, hand washing and sanitizer was always really key. They really stressed personal hygiene on a cruise simply because you don't want to catch what's also called a cruise cold, or the biggest no-no, the norovirus, which is actually really, really bad. So to protect cruisers and to protect the crew as well, they always try to enforce and try to make sure that everybody wash their hands, because that is the key, is good hygiene. So there's sanitizing stations everywhere. There's hand washing stations before you go into the buffet. So before coronavirus even was a thing, that was available. And I just think now it's going to be thoroughly enforced, making sure that hand washing is a thing. Just have good hygiene, people. As for seasickness, I always take Dramamine and Bonine on board just as a precaution in case I do get seasick. It rarely ever happens, though. I only see very rare cases of people actually getting seasick on a cruise nowadays, because they're just so big that it's really hard for the ships to get rocky. The only time ships really get rocky is when you're in bad weather, and most often the captain will steer around the bad weather to avoid it. So it's very rare that the ships get bumpy. But in the rare cases where you do get seasickness, Dramamine or Bonine, and then always take some ginger candy or ginger chews just to help me with my queasiness when I have seasickness. Oh, heck no. But this goes also back to the previous question. There are ships out there for everyone. There are ships out there that do demographically skew to the older, I want to say above 65 crowd, but Terry and I have gone on these cruise ships as well. When we are going on a ship purely for relaxation, these are the ships that we want to go on. These are ships that are cruise lines like Celebrity, cruise lines like Princess, that just skew demographically older. But we've also gone on cruise lines where we were just intent on having the best time ever and having action-packed and everything planned out for us. And those times we've gone with cruise lines more like Carnival or Norwegian. So it really all depends on what it is you're trying to do on the cruise versus who's going to be on the cruise. Here the answer is yes and no. And again, depends on the cruise line. Cruises can be as all-inclusive as you want them. And depending on some of the cruise lines, some will give you the option of making it more all-inclusive by giving you the chance to prepay for things like gratuities or special meal plans or shore excursions or even your spa treatments if that's your thing, all before you even get on board. So you can do these things, and sometimes there are even deals that these cruise lines will get you that will include these things to make them free. Cruise lines like Carnival, MSC, Celebrity, Norwegian, Princess, all of them have special deals where they'll include things like Wi-Fi, drinks, gratuities, all that stuff will be included in your fare, just to make it a little bit easier for you, to make it as all-inclusive as possible. And then there are the luxury ships, or I want to say the premium ships, that will basically be all-inclusive. They will include premium drinks, they'll include shore excursions, they'll sometimes even include airfare to and from the port. These are cruise lines like Oceana, Crystal, Regent, just to name a few. There are a few things that are included in every cruise though, just usually your meals. This could include the buffet or just meals in the main dining room. Then you have your basic beverages, your coffee, your tea, some juices, and of course waters and things like that. And then most entertainment, including like your Broadway production shows or your games or trivia and things like that. Those are almost always included in every cruise. Terry and I get asked this question a lot because even though we're not super health conscious, we're kind of health conscious. And because we cruise so much, people want to know how we don't gain weight. The best way we tend to avoid gaining a lot of weight on our cruises is to just not go overboard when we go to eat. We will generally not order seconds or thirds. We sometimes will order multiple things to be able to taste everything, and that's just the chef in me. I want to taste everything, but we won't order like seconds or thirds or go back and forth to the buffet if we are just trying to watch our weight. We almost always, at least once during every cruise, visit the gym at least once. And that's purely, one, to test out the equipment and to test out the gym, but two, just to work off all the stuff that we've done that so far on that cruise. We try to visit the gym at least once, at least in the middle of the cruise, usually on a sea day. So we get that workout in. And another thing that we like to do is we almost always take the stairs everywhere. We avoid the elevators just simply because we want to get those extra steps in to count that as some form of cardio. Another thing that we do is almost all of the excursions, or if we're going off the ship, is we will pick a excursion or some kind of short activity that includes a lot of walking or just a lot of hiking or something adventurous where we're moving and getting our bodies moving. Also, if we are planning to have a big meal, like if we're going to be eating at the steakhouse that night, we also try to go easy on the meals during the day. So say we'll only get like yogurt or a couple of pieces of fruit for breakfast. We won't eat heavy all day. That way we save all our calories for the big meal at night. In all essence, cruising and going to a resort are very, very similar. Meals and drinks are included. Entertainment's included, sometimes small activities like kayaking or paddleboarding, especially if you go to a cruise's private island. All of those things are included. So they're very, very similar. The thing that makes cruising different is that you get to visit other places. That's pretty much the main difference. When we went to the Mediterranean, we got to visit 4 different countries versus staying in one. And every time we go to the Caribbean, it's anywhere from 2 to 4, sometimes 5 different countries that you get to visit while on one trip. So that's the basic difference. That's why we love it so much, because you get to being exposed to so many different cultures and so many different countries all on the same trip. Absolutely. Cruise lines are now offering Wi-Fi on cruises, and that can sometimes rival some of the speeds on Wi-Fi on land. It's a must for our kids when we go anywhere that they have to have the Wi-Fi packages. And now Wi-Fi packages on most cruise lines have become very, very reasonable. I remember when Wi-Fi first became a thing on cruises and it was outrageously expensive. But now they've even got it to where you can buy it in tiers, so you can get the lowest package, the middle package, or even a high package where you're streaming all day, every day. So it's very affordable and very easy to get. Another thing is that you can use your cell phone, but there's also a phone in your cabin that you can use, just like your cell phone, if you don't want to risk using your roaming plan. So yes, you can keep in touch with everybody back home. A big resounding heck no. If you work with your travel advisor to find the perfect cruise for your family, for your vacation, then there's no way that you can possibly get bored, because you're picking the cruise that works best for you. You're finding the vacation that you want to go on. If you're trying to go and relax, then there's sitting by the pool, sitting on the beach, people watching, looking at people in the atrium. If you're going for activities, there's so many cruise ships that got things like rock climbing, ropes courses, you've got laser tag, you've got go-karts. There's so many different things on ships that you could do. I don't understand how people could say, oh, I went on this cruise and I was so bored. Terry and I have gone on almost 20 cruises of about 130 days at sea, and each cruise we've never been bored. Even if going to a port where we have, especially going to a port where we've never been before, how can you be bored exploring somewhere that you've never been? I don't understand that. And then being on a ship, there's so many things to do on ships nowadays. So no, I don't see how you get bored on a cruise ship. So, did I answer your question? If not, leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer it there. Or if I get a whole bunch of questions, I'll make a whole new FAQ video. Also, be sure to share this video with anyone that you may know that's going or planning on going on a cruise soon. That way they can answer their questions, because I know a lot of newbie cruisers have 1,000,001 questions that they always have. So just be sure to share this video with them. Also, be sure to like this video and subscribe. Hit the bell notifications to know when we post a new video. And we'll see you on the next one. Happy New Year!